Every Pikmin game has had little tweaks for the primary Pikmin types, but they've all remained relatively the same over the years, save for the yellow Pikmin, which has undergone a lot of changes. We know red, blue, and yellow Pikmin are returning in Pikmin 4 per the single screenshot we've got for the game. Today, we're going to be breaking down the changes across the series history for these types and seeing what they might be like in Pikmin 4 based on series precedent and the new perspective. My name is Vantage Emblem, and we do weekly Pikmin videos here, so be sure to subscribe if you want more. That being said, without further ado, let's get into it. Red Pikmin are likely the starting Pikmin for the game again. This has kind of been a familiar thing in every single Pikmin game following Pikmin 1. Pikmin 3 broke from this trend a little bit, but frankly, not too much. It only had yellow Pikmin slightly playable for a couple minutes before officially unlocking red Pikmin. That being said, the red Pikmin themselves are likely the same as they've always been, immune to fire and dealing slightly more damage than other Pikmin types. Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 3 had fire geysers that were not able to be destroyed, and this allowed for certain areas of the maps to be specifically red Pikmin focused. Pikmin 2 had destructible geysers. More than likely, Pikmin 4 will also have indestructible geysers like Pikmin 1 and 3, as they allow areas to be carefully gated to require the use of red Pikmin. I personally always felt like the Pikmin 2 geysers were destructible to help facilitate the slower playstyle encouraged by the procedurally populated caves of Pikmin 2. That being said, let's move on to a Pikmin type that's a little more interesting, yellow Pikmin. Yellow Pikmin get a little more interesting, since they've changed pretty drastically with every game. Yellow Pikmin likely can be thrown higher than normal, as they always have been able to, and this, combined with the new camera angle, may allow them to participate in increasingly vertical puzzles. For example, the clock we've seen may only be reachable by the high-throwing arcs of yellows. Yellow Pikmin have received a variety of other abilities throughout the games, and it's interesting to note that in Pikmin 3 in particular, they received, I believe, the most abilities they've ever had, mostly because their high-throwing ability was made very redundant by the existence of winged Pikmin. Should winged Pikmin return, this high-throwing ability may have to be modified in some way, which is completely possible given the new perspective, or it may remain the same, and it's just a feature of yellow Pikmin at this point that's not really their main focus. Speaking of other abilities of yellow Pikmin, let's talk about the original additional ability of yellow Pikmin, the ability to use bomb rocks, which was added in Pikmin 1. Yellow Pikmin were the only Pikmin type able to use bomb rocks in Pikmin 1, but bomb rocks can be carried by all Pikmin types starting in Pikmin 3. In the original Pikmin 1, there were plans for all types to have the capacity to carry bomb rocks, and there's actually art left over in the game for it, but it was reduced to just yellow Pikmin, expanding their otherwise limited use in that game. Now that electricity is a hazard and gives yellow Pikmin a bigger niche, this change to all Pikmin types using bomb rocks, as originally intended, probably won't be reverted. I can imagine if bomb rocks return in Pikmin 4, they likely will be used by all Pikmin types and not just a yellow Pikmin exclusive thing. Speaking of electricity though, Pikmin 2 introduced this as an instant death lethal hazard that killed any non-immune Pikmin on impact. Yellow Pikmin were of course immune, alongside Bulbmen. Pikmin 3 made the hazard entirely non-lethal, just sending Pikmin into a stunned state. I think Pikmin 4 could strike a middle ground, with stunned Pikmin dying from electrocution if they aren't whistled after an amount of time identical to how long Pikmin last when panicking due to water, fire, or poison. It could also make the hazard non-lethal or instant death again through difficulty modes or maybe just as the standard setting. We could see Ultra Spicy mode be instant death, hard mode lethal after a duration, and normal mode a non-lethal stun. But who knows? With electricity also comes the ability to light up bulbs and complete circuits seen in Pikmin 3 and in the Pikmin short films. I would not at all be surprised if this mechanic returned. If there is an increase in verticality accompanying the game's perspective change, this mechanic could allow for some more interesting puzzles and use cases. I think there's a lot left to do still with completing circuits as a mechanic, and it's likely to return, especially in a more vertical environment. Pikmin 3 also introduced one last change for yellow Pikmin, an increased digging speed. This allowed mounds of earth to be cleared more easily, which meant buried items and fruits could be unearthed a little quicker by these little guys. There were also mounds of earth that blocked hidden passageways in Pikmin 3, and these usually tunneled through some sort of barrier terrain. In Pikmin 3, these were always under some terrain, pretty much only really viewed from the top down, meaning that these tunnels were pretty infrequent, but with Pikmin 4's new perspective, they'll be right in front of you and much more visible. This may mean that they'll be more a consistent thing for yellow Pikmin to work on. That being said, we've talked about pretty much everything there is to talk about with yellow Pikmin, so let's move on to blue Pikmin. Blue Pikmin can swim and breathe underwater. Blue Pikmin walk across the seafloor, while other Pikmin just drown on the water's surface. In earlier titles, they could save your Pikmin from drowning, but this ability has vanished as water depth has increased, particularly in Pikmin 3 with its deeper water. With that, the ability just seems less manageable and more exploitable overall. I can imagine the water of Pikmin 4 will be pretty much the same. As for combat, blue Pikmin are pretty normal on the surface, but that being said, they can swim to enemies that are floating in the middle of deep water to engage with them, or fight enemies on the sea floor. If, in Pikmin 4, you're underwater from our new perspective, perhaps combat is very different there too, with much more verticality and a slow fall mechanic as Pikmin swim through the water. You can even fight enemies above, on the same level, and perhaps even below you with your blue friends this way. This could make them feel very different from surface Pikmin and properly spice up the game with water areas. If winged Pikmin return, and this has by no means been confirmed, this may give a new boon to their existence. Winged Pikmin can skim off enemies on the water's surface, while blue Pikmin can act below the waves, meaning that each of them have a more distinct role than they have in Pikmin 3. That being said, this new perspective may be a point against having winged Pikmin. If they're stuck floating just above the water, and you also have Pikmin go under the water, and the camera follows your leader who walks on the surface beneath the water, things could get really janky really fast. Perhaps there needs to be some new way to interact with the surface of the water, like spreading a berry-based oil spray that causes Pikmin to float, or through the ability of a new Pikmin type that temporarily makes the water's surface more easily traversable. Or perhaps winged Pikmin could just carry other Pikmin across the water. Since the depths under the waves would act as a new exclusive area for blue Pikmin, there's room for crossing the surface of the water to be a new niche. In fact, this would differentiate the use of winged and blue Pikmin pretty nicely, as blue Pikmin could perhaps need winged Pikmin to carry them across the water surface for certain puzzles, as they otherwise would sink rather than floating. Winged Pikmin, meanwhile, cannot go into the depths at all, meaning that areas can properly be locked behind blue Pikmin and winged Pikmin use. Of course, winged Pikmin may not return at all. We only know that blue Pikmin are returning, and reds and yellows, of course. That all being said, if blue Pikmin are returning, we can expect water to return. If red Pikmin are returning, we can expect fire to return. And if yellow Pikmin are returning, we can probably assume electricity will return, but given that it's not present in Pikmin 1, it may be removed, although I find this to be unlikely, as it's a good niche for yellow Pikmin at this point. But what do you think will be the returning hazards in Pikmin 4? What do you think these Pikmin types will be like in that game? Do you think that the primary Pikmin will have similar or different abilities? Do you think that other types will return? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe. I do Pikmin videos weekly here, so if you don't want to miss out, it's worth it. That being said, I'll stop rambling and end things here. My name is Vantage Emblem, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.